So as I was saying, you just need to look at that Purdue OWL resource or your handbook for more examples. Okay, moving on to tables and figures and the most common errors and questions with those. So you do have to label your tables and your figures. You need to title them. You use Arabic numerals to number them in the order in which they appear in the text. So just as this example says, that would be table 1. For tables in appendices, you're going to also add a capital letter with your Arabic numeral. So if you have Appendix A and you have tables in Appendix A, the first one will be table A1. The title of the table goes underneath the number, and the title should be capitalized and italicized. So in this example, we have Table 1, 6th edition APA format for headings and subheadings. Explanatory notes go underneath the table, and they should begin with the word note, which is in italics, followed by a period, and then it follows with the information that you want to include to describe the table if it's necessary to do so. So there's an example of what that would look like here if you need more explanatory information. If you reproduce a copyrighted table or figure or questionnaire or test item, you have to get written permission from the copyright holder in order to use that item. So you will have to write to that person or whatever. This doesn't come up that often because most of the time people make their own tables and their own figures, etc., etc. But it may come up, and if so, you do have to get written permission, which the contact information should be available through the journal that the item is published in. And if you don't do that, you have to be prepared to accept the possible consequences for that. You also have to give proper credit to the author and the copyright holder in a caption to the table or figure, so that could go in that little explanatory note. And there is a guideline in the APA handbook for the proper wording of those kinds of statements. This also does apply if you adapt a copyrighted item and or if you only use part of the item. So if, for example, you were teaching a class or something and you wanted to use this video or part of this video, you would need to email me, get my written permission, and you have to give me credit for that, obviously, because I'm the copyright holder. And that is just based in the legal world, and it's also an ethical issue that you want to make sure to give credit where credit is due. Think about whether you need each table and figure, whether you're using somebody's published one that you're going to give credit for, or whether you're making one yourself. You might not really need it. Sometimes tables can be great. They can break down a complicated concept into an elegant little image, and they can make things much easier to understand, but sometimes they can be superfluous as well. So you should always think about whether each table and figure is necessary, whether it's enhancing your reader's understanding of your paper, and only you can answer that question for the paper at hand. So let's talk about some changes to 6th edition APA. There were quite a few for the most recent handbook. We already talked about the headings and subheadings, but there are also changes to line spacing and spacing with punctuation. For some reason, this is a controversial topic, and you can find weirdly heated debates about this online as to whether to use 2 spaces after a period or 1. I don't have a dog in that fight. I think it's kind of strange that people fight about this or that people are that emotionally invested in the answer. To me, I do what I'm told. So in APA style, you got to use 2 spaces after a period, even if you don't like to do it. It's the rule for APA. And the rationale behind that is to spare the eyes of your reader. So there's that. And that is specified in the 6th edition handbook. Also, there's advice in there about reducing bias in language. And making sure that we're sensitive to various groups when we're writing, so that's important. There are new guidelines for using quotes. There are guidelines for using electronic sources, so web URLs, DOIs, DOI numbers, all those sorts of things come up. And so if you are using an older edition of APA, if you have the 5th edition handbook or the 4th edition, that may cause you some problems. So I would highly recommend, I'm not saying you have to buy the new handbook because it's expensive, I realize, but know that there are some changes. And the Purdue OWL, if you don't have money for or don't want to spend money on the handbook, the Purdue has a guide to the changes in 6th edition APA. And I don't think we need to go into them here because it's detailed stuff and not all of it's going to come up in whatever paper you're writing. But I have this web address for you right here that will break all of this down in great detail. And so does the apastyle.org website, and so does the APA Style blog. And in giving you all 3 of those web resources, I have given you, I think, all you will probably ever need in terms of getting your APA style questions answered. So anything that I didn't cover today, you're probably going to find the answer here. And I particularly like the APA style blog. It is an official APA resource, so it's APA people writing this blog. And the best thing about it is that they have a searchable archive. So if you have a question that you don't feel is covered clearly enough in the handbook, and believe me, that happens all the time. The handbook does not get into everything in enough detail. All you have to do is go to the APA Style blog website and do a keyword search, and chances are they've covered it. And even better than that, you can look at the comments. So if even that blog post isn't clear enough, chances are somebody in the comments has asked, could you clarify X, Y, or Z? And the APA style person will answer that question. So it is an extremely detailed and comprehensive resource. So APA style blog, check it out, bookmark it on your computer. Purdue OWL is great as well. It is terrific. So those are, in my experience, the most common mistakes and the most frequently asked questions about APA style. Covers the very basics. I hope it's been helpful to you. Sorry we had to do the video in 3 parts. That's just the way this software works. It will only let you record for 15 minutes at a time, which is irritating, but there you go. Thank you so much for watching this, and best of luck with all your upcoming writing projects. Take care. There's my references list in case you're interested. And signing off. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.